Joe in real life. So a couple days ago, a commenter brought up their back injury. I believe it was herniated discs, maybe it was only slip discs, but they also mentioned that they had a lengthy recovery period. So the injury was pretty serious. And brought this up as sort of a caution to me about my own squatting, and specifically high bar, ass to grass, but I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is the recovery from something like that. And first of all, I'm very sorry for your injury. That sucks, and sometimes we just lose the lottery, the mechanics lottery, and this is cold comfort, but sometimes a specific movement like high bar, ass to grass, it's just not in the cards for us, I thought I was in that camp for a while. I did regular powerlifting squats for a long time because I have hip dysplasia, and I just assumed that even though I'm very flexible as an ex-yoga teacher, that load-bearing squats of that depth was not something I was going to get away with long-term. Now, as it turns out, I was mistaken, and I just didn't do the requisite ramp-up. I'm not accusing you of that same thing, but it might be the case that your mechanics just aren't, that you're just not born with the levers for it, I did want to suggest, and I'm sure you already know about this material, but Ben Patrick's program, the Knees Over Toes Zero, and his lower back strengthening program, once you're done your rehab, I would highly recommend using those. You do not have to sign up for them. All of it's available free on YouTube. You'll have to piece it together a little bit, but it's very simple. And the entire thing would take 15-20 minutes. Both programs, I think it's 7 movements, knees over toes, 4 movements, the lower back thing. 1 set, like 20 reps each, something like that, And what it lacks in nuance and sophistication, it makes up for with just being supremely practical and rebuilding end range positions, That's really where the problem is. I mentioned earlier that I used to be a yoga teacher, and one of the things that happens to yoga teachers is you end up being a physical therapist, an unlicensed physical therapist that's called upon to do physical therapy work all the time. It's part of why I walked away from yoga, because it's very dangerous to take physical therapy advice from your yoga teacher. I tried my best to do my due diligence and study up on that stuff so that I could help my students be a little more efficacious in their treatment, which I should not have been doling out, but did anyway. Because it's hard. It's hard when somebody corners you and asks you for advice on a specific malfunction to not say anything, or to defer. I mean, after enough repetitions of that, you just start helping. You just start doing stuff. And it doesn't take long to both end up in deep water and realize you're not qualified to do that thing, right? But I did learn quite a bit. And one of the things I learned is that, I learned that this stuff is learnable and that the resources are available, that you can rehab yourself pretty effectively online. I also learned the harsh reality that some movements, some mechanical shapes just aren't for everybody. and there's no amount of cooking the books. There's nothing you can do, you know? And my guy, I'm sorry I can't remember your name. I should have looked it up before this video. My guy, it might just be that high bar ass to grass squats aren't for you. And, you know, if that's the case, like, stop, right? Like, I do think checking out the knees over toes and the back program stuff will reveal to you whether or not you can get away with it in the future. But it might be that you just have to stop. And, you know, there are alternatives and there are options. And it sucks when you have your mind set on something and you gotta halt. But the alternative is, best case scenario, a repeat injury every 6 months or so. It's soul-crushing frustration, you know. I wish I had better news, but, you know, Godspeed on your recovery. And today's 165 for my squats, so let's get in there and do them. All right, see you soon. The aftermath of yesterday's PR left me feeling pretty insecure about today. I knew I'd get the reps. I knew I would get, this is 125 for 6, and then 165 for 2 sets of 6. I knew I had that, but I also knew it would come at a high cost. I'm sore, I'm achy, I got Tin Man problems, and the body didn't want to line up for me. This will ameliorate itself in a couple days, or I'll fail at this weight. I've resigned myself to that possibility. It might be that I hit a wall at 165 again and restart. I'm okay with that. I really, truly am. But that being said, the weight felt good. I know the reps didn't look good, and I'm watching them for the first time, same as you. I know that mechanically they were not sound, but I also knew that was going to be the case. My body does not feel lined up well. I went pretty hard yesterday, so I came by this honestly. But let's check them out together. So far, so good. Yep, those 2 are great. 3, good. Okay, what else? What else? This is where it falls apart, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, gross. Gross. Weirdly, that one was a little better, but okay. The next set was where it really felt bad. I was just happy to get up and down with it. Like, you know, rationally I knew I was going to, but emotionally I had doubts. Does that make sense? I think it does. I don't know. Yeah, it does. If you push your weights at all, you know what I'm talking about. This one I'm nervous to watch. I feel like all of them were ugly. Also, my stance is getting a little wider. I'm going to ass to grass with a wider stance. Honestly, those 2 were not terrible. Yeah, well, it wasn't bad either. Okay. There it is. Yuck. Boo. Yeah. Hey guys, this is Joe in real life. I love you. Be good to each other out there. Let's check him out tomorrow, see if it's any better. Until then.